Video. Sorry. No, it's an honor to basically be recognized here in Venice, and it's just one of those things where I'm very very excited about and just very humbled by it, really. As far as the processes are concerned, as far as the artwork or the feature film work, I don't really. There's no barrier between the two. It's the sort of same process, but just as one might be obviously non-narrative as such, and the other one is obviously less so. So it's one of those situations where it's work. That's all. You know. Oh, sorry. Apologize. No, I think the character Brandon is not for me. You know, I love Brandon. I love that man. And you know, he's trying, and it's difficult. And I think he's not so far away, I think, from most of us, in a way. He's not a bad person, but he's a person living now with all the trappings of now. And, of course, it shapes you, it taints you, but one is always trying, of course, to be better. I think as a character, he's very familiar to all of us, and not at all repulsive at all, but much more sort of, how can I say, a character who is sort of unfamiliar but extraordinarily recognizable.
Scenes, and just have to jump into it, really. The most important thing, I suppose, is just to make sure that everybody involved is comfortable, as much as you can be. And then just sort of go for it so you don't have to do too many takes.
Add to that in the sense of contemporary cities and 24-hour cities and access. And, how it's just one of those places where we thought this is the best place for this character to be. Brandon, this person who, excess and access, and New York is the place. But at the same time, it wasn't discussion. I think too many people sort of tend to make the character such a component of the film where it's overbearing. I mean, I'm very fortunate enough to sort of have been going to New York since the blackout and Elvis died. 1977, most of my relatives are there. So it was a case of just focusing on the people and how the people sort of lead us to sort of different settings, different places.
Is the time right for this film to be about a woman? Absolutely. But I think I love Brandon too. I think he's a very damaged man, and I think he's a man who's lost his moral compass, some may say. But he's actually a man who's looking for intimacy, and I think that story could have equally worked in a very different way for a woman. But I still feel, for me, I fell in love with the character, so it felt very right that it was a man just for this story. Now, a different character, a different film, then yeah, maybe again, it's a fascinating subject, that yearning to find intimacy, and often through the internet, and he was a very inspiring character, so I went with him as a man really for this film.
We did discuss that, didn't we? And we thought, okay, should we have it in there? And the fact of the matter is, in terms of these sort of compulsions and sort of, as Steve was saying, excesses, they can be certain triggers that lead to each other. So it's like doing a line of cocaine, drinking, however many vodkas leads to then getting on the phone, calling up an escort, or, going out into the night, trying to find something else. And so they kind of sometimes are linked in. We didn't sort of want to overdo it, but show that, they do go hand in hand and can go hand in hand. And maybe he's doing it other times and you just don't see him doing it as an audience. But these things tend to be sort of interwoven. And that was from a conversation that we had with one of these characters who was sort of experiencing these compulsions.
I mean, obviously, it's one of those things where, cocaine is quite fairly available, and it's just one of those things. Unfortunately, it's one of those things.